Hi, I'm Paul Reis. Like I said, a lifelong resident of Bellows Falls, almost 55 come November 30th. I got a lot of energy today. I don't want to be disrespectful with the show. Hopefully it will be educational, kind of fun and humorous, but this needs to be pointed out again. I'm calling this video the Ben and Jerry's Department of Labor training video. And you said, why does the Department of Labor need to be trained? Well, I'll tell you what, I've dealt with this situation almost 24 years, and the last 4 or 5, I really have seen how unqualified a lot of the people are that are actually working for the state of Vermont. I have done 7, I think, other shows here, I'll tell you if you want to watch. Some are crazy, some aren't, but we're getting a little better. I'll just read the names of the shows for you. One of them was A Worker for the Working America, Working Man Part 1, Ben and Jerry's, A Worker for Working America Part 2. Then we had Vermont's Biggest Lie, Ben and Jerry's Assault on the Job, Ben and Jerry's Free Pass. Now, I'm liable for every one of these videos. Don't be mad at Fact TV. If you don't like it, if you think it's politically incorrect, give me a call. My number is 802-463-3101. Or call the Ben and Jerry's number and voice your opinion on what's gone on here. Fact TV can be reached by www.fact8.com. And I believe if you're going to tell a story, it has to be truthful. And that's why they call it Fact TV. I don't want to slander anyone, but I do believe this company and many public officials need to be held accountable for what's really going on in Vermont and why the Ben and Jerry ice cream company that is worth almost $1 billion now, and Unilever, which bought them out, is worth around $60 billion, has yet to apologize, has yet to do the right thing. This is a company that markets on peace, love, social justice, social responsibility, and they refuse to have a meeting with me. This has reached all the way up to the state of Vermont's top level. The Lieutenant Governor Zunkerman, he's very concerned, and he's actually one of the only one that is taking initiative to call the Attorney General into his office and say, can we come up with some type of resolution? Well, like I said, we're going to start off the story here a little bit by showing you what you can find at the local rest areas up the interstate is all of Vermont's little tourist attractions, anywhere you want to tour in Vermont. But the one that caught my eye is the factory in Waterbury, Vermont. You can travel up there and learn about the happiest place on earth. I guess maybe I need some counseling why I'm not so happy. It was one of the worst places on earth for me ever to work at. And I'll tell you why. The travel and tourist industry of Vermont, I complained to them. I say it's false advertisement. They advertise on peace, love, and social justice. And myself and other employees were assaulted. We're beaten with a board. I was asked for sex. And I'll fill you in on the other things that happened later. And this was brought to the attention of a judge in Newfane in '96. He says to their attorney, is that fair and equal treatment of your employees? She says, no. They were going to investigate. You know what? They investigated themselves. And once again, they said, nobody substantiated. Well, the fact is, just like Fact TV, I investigated for 22 years. I have the names. I have the witnesses. And nobody wanted to listen to me. Isn't that amazing? That's like the police department investigating the police department. Wow. All right. See these little individual heads right here? This was a woman that had to play guess the weight gain. She was very embarrassed with what happened to her. This is my other friend that lived in Chester. He had back surgery in Hanover. Gee, he had to play guess the weight game too. Then this is myself and others. I have severe back injuries. I've had 3 MRIs on the spine, 2 x-rays, one most recently during the month, and shows severe damage. But to me, maybe it's not the back damage. It's the emotional damage. This story goes much deeper, my friends. In the Ben and Jerry world, you have this like little wand where I told you before, everything's a sunny day at Ben and Jerry's. Everything's great. Everyone's supposed to be happy. The cows are eating green grass, all healthy food, and you got a nice product that is chemical free. It all sounds good, my friend, but it's fake. The Vermont politicians and the rest of them, I think, have pulled off one of the biggest scams in United States history. It's supposed to be justice and liberty for all. I don't think I'm getting justice. I don't think there's liberty for all. The migrant worker over here, they had to fight almost 3 years. 3 years, my friend. And thanks to the NEA, the National Education Association, they finally gave in that the migrant worker should have 8 hours of sleep, might not have to work 16 hours, and have good living conditions. You would take it for granted living in the United States that these would be normal conditions for a company that cares so much about human beings. But they had to fight for, my friends, over 3 years. And the article can be found here. Then we had Martin Luther King Day, the celebration of Martin Luther King. And this was the Green Mountain College. I say this because it was very important. The kids protested and it said, or celebrated, and it said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I'm going to repeat that because Ben and Jerry's needs to listen clearly. Injustice, that's called beating your employees with a board. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Okay? So by letting a Ben and Jerry's organization, a company worth $1 million, owned by Unilever, which is about $60 million, get away with sexual harassment in the state of Vermont, get away with assault in the state of Vermont. My friends, I'll remind you, I went to your police department up in Springfield. If it's a prank or if it's not a prank, it's a crime, my friends. It's a crime to beat someone with a board. You wouldn't even, my friends, beat a dog with a board or an animal. I'm sure they have rights. Well, I feel the Vermont worker, the immigrant worker, have some rights. And this company needs to be held accountable. Now we're going to go on to talk about a few politicians and different things. I call this the Happy Vermont politic boat, political boat. It's green with Vermont colors, and it's black and blue from the wounds that the people suffered working for them. We've been sailing along in Vermont on the political boat. There's been Bernie Sanders been very close to Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield. You've had Mr. Zunkerman. You've had Matt Dunn, Peter Shulman. They're all honored for what they've done for the state of Vermont. Well, you're going to find they're running into some rough waters here because this guy in Bellows Falls is making it a rough ride now. And they're starting to yell out, bravo, bravo, man overboard. They're jumping ship because the Ben and Jerry's little story, my friend, is sinking all the way to the bottom of Lake Champlain. Oh, boy. We're going to read about the Ben and Jerry mission, my friend. It was about, this is right off their own website. You can get like 30 pages. Peace building. Peace won't happen on its own. Wow. And it's about social justice for all and respectful dialogue among people everywhere. Ben and Jerry's approach is to nourish peace and justice at its roots for the rich and the poor. The gap. Wow. To help create a more peaceful, equitable world. Then we go to the second page. Speak for peace. Alternatives to violence. We will look for opportunities to assist in rebranding of peace movement globally. You know, peace building movement. Wow, they're really about peace, my friends. They have done nothing to resolve my beating with a board, my fellow employees. Joke or no joke. Maybe our physical wounds will heal a little bit, but the mental trauma, the comments that were made to me by management. One of them, when my first daughter was born, I says, I'm happy my daughter's rolling over. And he says, you're happy your wife's rolling over. Wow, that's real nice. That's a quality business. What happens next? I check on a pig pump to suck up old ice cream. And I check on my volunteer time on a weekend. I says, the pump suck good. The management says, do you suck good? It's getting deeper. But if anyone suffered emotional abuse as a kid, you tolerate it. You keep it inside until you break the cycle in your own family or society. Well, I tolerated Ben and Jerry's abuse. They knew I didn't have the learning capacity to operate a computer. So they set me up and says, you need to learn the bookwork. So I stayed doing the bookwork until almost 1 o'clock in the morning and couldn't comprehend. And the young lady says, do you want to have sex with me? This is at Ben and Jerry's. I says, no. She says, then just get your shit out of here and get out of here. They never asked me to do bookwork. I brought this all to the Department of Labor, how we were assaulted with a board under guess the weight game, where someone held you off the ground while the other person beat you with a board. Boy, it was fun and exciting to them. But you know what? I'm still suffering emotionally 22 years. Not so much that Ben and Jerry's hasn't apologized, but the lying that has come from the state of Vermont and public officials. My friend, I haven't enjoyed this. I've said to take this honest mirror, which I believe the show should be honest, in fact TV. I asked the Lieutenant Governor of Vermont. I believe he's tried to do what he can, David Zuckerman. I thank him very, very much. TJ Donovan, when you were running for office, you gave me a call from Chittenden County. You said, gee, Paul, if I get elected, I'll do what I can do to help you. I've reached out to you for years and years. You never called me back, my friend. I've asked for meetings up there. Julio Thompson, Civil Rights Commission, the American Disabilities, Vermont Disabilities. Gee, we're sorry that you got beat with a board, sexually harassed, humiliated, but there's nothing we can do. We don't have the financial resources to help you. Gee, maybe it's a joke. But politicians, again, I wrote a letter years ago to Peter Shulman. His secretary laughed at me. I ask you guys to look in the mirror. Are you really representing the worker that wears the working boot and goes to work every day, okay? Are you really representing them or yourself? I have a big wad of cash here. Oh yeah, there's a lot of cash, my friends. I bet you if I started saying to you politicians, hey, can you help me out? Gee, they're not supposed to take money and bribes, but I bet if I start throwing them stashes of money, whoa, I bet they'll call. Because now I already got some candidates that are running for governor. And they're concerned about the Ben and Jerry thing. You know what they're really concerned about? They want some money. Remember, Bernie? Remember how I paid you to put me in? Yeah, Bernie? You were going to help the worker. You were going to help me. I worked 87 hours laying asphalt. There's some more money, Bernie. Okay, was it Shulman? Was it Matt Dunn? Is it Zuckerman? Well, who are we going to pay out? There's a big wad of cash. Well, let me tell you, my friends, somebody invested very big in Ben & Jerry's. They were sold for $340 million. I wanted to find out who the investors were. You can't. Maybe they're our own politicians. Maybe they don't want to help me. But you know what, my friends? When you mail me the flyers next year, and one of them says, more Vermont students leave their home state than any other state. Gee, maybe they're looking for a job that they won't be beaten with a board. When you rate this company the top company in the state of Vermont, and you allow them to sexually harass, assault, and beat their employees, I don't think I want to work for them, my friend. Look at these little postcards. You've got to be pretty important with the state here when it says, this is from Ben and Jerry. This was on Matt Dunn's flyer. It's a couple of years ago. We're proud to support Matt Dunn, a candidate who wants to get corporate money out of elections. Wow, you got to be pretty important to come to a flyer in everybody's mailbox. Then there was Mr. Zunkerman here, right here, endorsed by Ben and Jerry Greenfield. I don't see my name on any flyer. You think people would be happy to say, hey, we're honored by Mr. Reis's 22 years of fighting injustice like Martin Luther King did. 22 years, my own money. But instead, here's a picture of Lieutenant Governor. Waterbury State House, honored for Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield have done for the state. There's pictures of Bernie Sanders, honored for what they've done for the state. There's pictures of Peter Shulman. All of them. They're all honored. Well, I'll tell you what. I think if I was a political candidate, I would step back, my friend. Because the boat sank, my friend. It's on the bottom of Lake Champlain. If you were honored by two individuals, it owned one of the top companies in the state of Vermont, and they didn't do the right thing and assaulted their employees. They didn't assault. They own the company when their own employees beat workers and nobody looked into this. Well, my friends, we got letters after letters, documents after documents. Bernie Sanders doesn't really want to get involved. Well, Bernie, sometimes you have to. I've been a leader my whole life, and what you got to do sometimes is stand up for what you truly believe. I was very disappointed in the last election. You were standing for your beliefs, and then a half an hour after elections, you went over and you kissed Hillary and you made up. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to kiss and make up to Hillary or anyone. I'm going to tell you who I'm going to vote for, who I'm not going to vote for. There were signs and pictures of me protesting throughout the state. I've met thousands of people. One of them says, Vermont Finest, Ben & Jerry's Homemade and Corporate, humiliation, sexual harassment, and bodily injury. Another billboard said, Ben & Jerry's ignores personal injury for years. Workers do have rights. Okay, maybe I just made all this up. Well, Liberty Mutual got involved. Their insurance carrier, which is probably going to be the one that has to pay out, probably be millions of dollars if it ever goes to civil court. But it's tricky because no small law firm will go up against a $1 billion company or $60 billion. So then they recommend you get a corporate law firm. Well, the corporate law firm works for corporations. Gee. So I says, now I'm kind of mixed up what to do. Well, then a light went off right on my head. A light. I had an idea. You imagine that. An idea. And I says, I'm going to ask for somebody higher than a judge. I'm going to ask for somebody higher than an attorney. And I started to reflect. And I bought two magnets at the Gilsum Rock Swap and you start seeing the power of the pulling of the magnets and the force, good and evil. And I says, who am I going to turn to? Well, my friends, I turned to God. And you know what? The law firm up in Burlington, they don't know what to do because they know they could win, I guess, a court case. I can't get them in the court. But I believe God is honesty. And by me telling the American people the honest truth, telling the American servicemen the honest truth, we can put this company out of business. And I says, how? Just like the migrant worker won justice, he won justice by building a coalition of other people. And I says, I've been a National Education Association member for 19 years. I've paid my dues of $300 a year. They're representing a migrant worker. I says, I'm an American citizen that was born here, lives here, works here my whole life, and nobody in the United States can help the worker in the United States. I mean, I'm thankful that they helped the migrant worker, but my God, an American worker, American citizen does not have to go to work and be beaten like a dog, okay? We were called temporary pieces of shit. Now, that made me feel really good, huh? Temporary pieces of shit. And I was trying to raise a family. This was the company that says, oh, health care for all, my friends. It wasn't health care for all. For the full-time employees. Temporary part-time workers didn't receive benefits. My daughters were born on welfare Medicaid. Way to go, state of Vermont. #1 company. I think there's someone that can do better. Maybe this little box of Band-Aids can make my boo-boo go away, I guess, on my back or whatever. A little box of Band-Aids. But the emotional damage that you did to me and to the other workers, self-esteem, you know what? First time in my life the other day, I said, you know what? I'm honest. I'm right. I'm not going to be brainwashed by society. I can think for myself. I don't walk around with a computer, a laptop. This is up here. I have truth and honesty, my friends. I don't care what your laws or rules are. I know what's right and what's wrong. The other day, I bought a little rum. We nipped on that. And I even lit up a joint. Wow, you imagine that? That could be terrible. Well, my friends, people don't care of the stacks of rules and laws and legislation and the debating, okay? Caroline Partridge, you're in charge of the Agriculture Committee. I know you couldn't help me, but you could have called. I won't vote for you again, and I think you're a nice person. Like I said, Bernie, you're a nice person. I won't vote for you guys. When somebody says, and the Attorney General says, I will call you, the word is the most important thing to me. If you can't keep your word and call me, when I drive to Montpelier, I guess I become a second-class citizen. I thought there was justice and liberty for all. I'm sure if a Vermont state trooper got the guess the weight game as a joke, you'd probably be facing a felony. You did this to a lawmaker, I can guarantee you'd probably be in jail. But since you're a temporary worker, lower bottom scale, you wear actually a real working boot, I guess you have no rights. You just have to be thankful and kiss their bum that you got a job. Well, I'm not playing this a game no more. I call it, you may not like Donald Trump, but he calls it out sometimes the way it is. And when he calls someone a slime ball, he calls them a slime ball. Well, I found this and I thought it was funny. Vermont's company, #1 Ben & Jerry's, far as I'm concerned, this should be a new flavor, man. Slime ball flavor. Slime ball. Everybody will buy this one. And if you don't produce it, maybe I will. Because, as far as I'm concerned, you've handled this like a slime ball corporation, not as a true American company. The other thing I'd like to say, my friends, is I've had many people that have served in the military, male, female, police officers. They're really interested in seeing some type of justice here. because many of them have given their lives for true freedoms for this country. Lay down their lives, Ben and Jerry's, okay? So I have an opportunity to go to work. I have an opportunity to speak on Fact TV called Freedom. Ben and Jerry organization to me was nothing more than a cult. They called it volunteer service to go to Sugarbush Festival. My friends, if you didn't attend this volunteer function, you were told you weren't going to be hired back. Wow, that's like a little power struggle, ain't it? You had to be a yes man. When they wanted to throw you a hat, you were supposed to be grateful, clap on cue. When they would throw you a shirt, clap on cue. I didn't fit in because I didn't want to follow the thing. Well, now we're going to have a little fun with this little parrot. I found this up in Claremont, and I thought this reminds me a lot of the state people. So we're going to say a few comments and see what they say. All right, we're going to turn it on and speak to the politicians. All right, we're going to, let's see. We'll call TJ Donovan's office. Dial, dial, dial here. Let's hear it ring. Oh, hello, TJ Donovan's office. This is Paul Reis in Bells Falls. I wonder if you can give me a call. I'm on Fact TV. I'm really concerned about, being assaulted with a board along with coworkers, and you guys claim you can't do anything. Huh, okay. I'll hold on a minute. Hello, TJ Donovan's office. Hello, TJ Donovan's office. It's Paul Reis. Tell him kiss his ass. I really can't help you on this. Too much time went by. Have a good day. Wow, you imagine that? I am very upset. I'm going to hang up. I've called almost for 22 years for help. Called Bernie's office. I swear they have a pair to answer the phone. Same thing. Write you a letter. They don't write you a letter, my friends. It's really sad. When you vote, like you said, you see the color of a true candidate, and then watch the color change. It's amazing. One minute they like you, then the color changes, they don't like you. It's a mystery how they change right after election. Well, we're going to show you the spine. We're going to spin the mannequin around here. Let me go down. All right, back up. Now this spine area, I'm going to show you, okay? Hopefully you get a good view of it. The lower part of a spine will actually move the boot a little bit here so you get a better view. The lower part of the spine is called the lumbar spine. I received a football injury in the lumbar spine, all right? Back in the 1980s. Well, the two maintenance guys that did the little prank on us, I guess, they didn't realize I had a previous back injury. Well, to take a board to a human being, when somebody did this to you, I'll show you. We'll grab this other skeleton right here. This is my other little demonstration skeleton. When someone would hold you off the ground, they'd say, "Give me your hands so I can guess the weight." And they'd hold you like this off the ground. And you had to relax, they'd bend you over. You had to relax, they'd bend you over. They'd pull your feet 2 feet off the ground, totally relaxed. And you imagine that. Totally relaxed. And the other person takes the board and smashes the lower part of your spine. I was 29 years old, Ben and Jerry's. That hurt for about 2 weeks. Right on that lower disc, my friends. Now this training video, that's for the Department of Labor. I guess you ought to show it to your own staff. And you ought to be ashamed of yourselves that somebody can be beaten with a board in the state of Vermont, sexually harassed, and the OSHA administration. Woo, that's a big word. Remember your letter you got in 94 about safety issues? You did nothing. The U.S. Department of Labor had to write to you, huh? Yeah, Department of Labor. Then we have the investigation. The head of Department of Labor, she investigates and writes a finding that Ben and Jerry's already investigated the matter and nobody substantiated it. Why? Well, the Fact TV will tell you that's a lie. Call my old supervisor. He said nobody investigated it. Call Liberty Mutual's police investigator, came up from Boston and interviewed me for an hour and a half. When the recorder was off.
Not Fact TV, Paul Reis.
Yeah.
Remember.
Yeah, when he was done, like you said, he believed me. So this is the Paul Reis Show. We're not going to blame Fact TV for any of it. I'm fully liable for everything I say on this show. But we were beaten with a board. And everyone uses the word allege. Well, I'll tell you what, when I lay flat on my back at night for 2 hours in pain, I don't allege it. So the lower spine, if you've watched the recent MRIs, the x-rays, it's all damaged, my friend. But the mental damage is worse. Because the mental damage, if you were ever abused as a child, which I was. I went through a lot of trauma, my friends. And this whole incident re-triggered it. If you read the medical reports from the psychologists, if you read the medical reports from the therapists, the doctors, you'd understand why I'm mad. We're going to take these scissors, and we're going to cut this little outfit off. And if you get frayed with plastic nudity, don't get mad. But it's just a little demonstration I want to show you. When you wear a uniform, okay, any type of uniform in life, you become somebody, okay? You could be a nobody in life, but whatever type of uniform you put on, you could put a law enforcement uniform on, fire department uniform on, a priest robe. I could be a custodian, construction worker, carpenter. But at the end of the day, my friends, we don't get upset. Don't be calling the station. But at the end of the day, we all put our clothes on the same way, my friends. Okay? That's one leg at a time. One leg at a time. Okay? Now we have a naked human being. Oh my. Spin the naked human being around. Okay? What do you have? Okay? We're all the same. It don't matter. Skin color. Don't matter. Race. We all should have the same rights in this country. And I'll tell you what, my friends. We're finding out little by little, you ain't got the same rights. You really don't. And I'm going to start wrapping this show up, and I'm sure I upset a lot of people, but the story needed to be told again. And as the candidates run for governor, I've thought of running for re-election for some type of office because I honestly believe I have some honesty, integrity, and guts. And I just believe a lot of your candidates nowadays may be nice people. They don't have guts. They're not a fighter. I remind myself, if you look at this tattoo, 1989 boxing champion, okay? A champion. Because I don't give up and you go on to win and you raise your arms. I've told Ben and Jerry's again, you're not up against anybody that's going to lay down and hide in the sand and go, leave me alone, leave me alone, okay? I'm going to fight you, Ben and Jerry's, right to the end, okay? The good Lord could take me away tomorrow, but you know what? I don't have to be like a politician that says, Oh, they're taking the gloves off, they're starting to spar. Most of these politicians have never fought a fight in their life. They probably got kicked in the butt and run home to mommy crying. Wah, wah. Okay? Be a fighter. Be a man. Step up to the plate. Fight for the working people, my friends. If it means you don't get elected, that's fine. You don't get elected. You know what? I've been knocked down. I've got up. Been hit in the side of the face. Get up. Ben and Jerry's. I'm not fighting this alone, okay? I realize you got the smartest attorneys. I can't even get an attorney. But you know what? You're not going to outsmart God. God is truth and God is justice. And if it's next year or if it's 20 years or before all of you take your last breath in life, you're going to realize that you're nothing without God and truth. Your word is your word. So I'm at peace with myself, knowing that I've done the best I can. If no corporate attorney wants to step up and say, gee, Paul, I'm willing to help you, then I guess I have to accept that. I forgive the two individuals that did it, but I just can't believe that a company that advertises on peace, love, social justice, social responsibility is that naive to do the right thing. It all could have been handled in small claims court under $5,000, just telling the truth. And I refuse to give in to a corporation that's worth $60 billion. Too many servicemen in this country and women have given their lives to fight for justice and freedom for all. And like the Martin Luther King quote, one company is allowed to get away with what they've done to the migrant workers, been able to lie about their product when their product was tested to see if it was truly organic, my friends. That battle went on 21 years, still going on. They found Roundup, traces of Roundup in 11 pints of their ice cream. Gee, why is that group mad at them? Why was the NRA and the migrant workers mad at them? Why am I still mad at them? Because it's a lie. Their head CEO, I mailed them a letter, never got back to me. I'm done calling the state and all of them, okay? I'll take the show on the road to the public now. Okay, we'll take the show on the road. But as I say, none of them did anything. I spoke directly to their CEO on public radio program. He says, oh, I'm sure it happened a long time ago. Well, tell you what, I don't care how long ago it might have happened. It still hurts, my friends, because the state trooper told me there's not a resolution. Local law enforcement understands the political battle. So I'm going to return this favor this year as election time comes in August. Ask the true questions to the candidates. Everybody wants good education. Everybody wants clean air, clean water. Those are all safe issues. Ask the candidates the truth. Say, hey, I got a question for you. You ever smoke a little weed when you were growing up? That's what the kids want to know. Say to them, gee, by the way, if I elect you, did you ever, cheat on your wife or your husband? Because what kind of question is that? It tells the character of the person if they're honest or not. I am so sick of the dishonesty that comes out of Washington, D.C. We've had President Nixon years ago, lied. Bill Clinton, I didn't have the affair. We've seen it all the way up through history. These leaders get so powerful and then they fall. Well, Bernie, I hate to say it, you were right on top, my friend, for the worker. But when you were put to the test, you should have stuck with me. You should have brought me to the Capitol and said, I'm honored for all that Mr. Reis has done for the working people. He has fought 22 years to stop abuse of the worker in the state of Vermont. He has fought for labor laws, for clean environment. And what have these agencies done? Nothing, my friend, for the worker. I have a severe learning disability. What What has the American Disabilities done? Nothing. They didn't even know who to contact. My grade level, my friends, is 4.6, challenging a $60 million company. Okay? Civil liberties, help, help. Americans with disabilities, help, help. Okay? The advocates, the medical field, everyone, where are you? You know what? We got to build the coalition. And if Ben and Jerry's, if you don't take this seriously, I honestly believe your company is in danger of going out. And the state of Vermont will be very upset to lose the money. But when you market on false advertisement all throughout the states and you've earned like 6 countries and you couldn't have just told the truth, I'm sorry you had to be exposed. The naked truth is there. We're all equal. So if we're going to be sticking up for people's rights, I think it was Ben or Jerry was up in Burlington protesting. I think it was the National Guard's fighter jet noises. Maybe Ben and Jerry would like to give me a call. We can protest together on what happened to me at the plant. Maybe they can say they're sorry. Maybe we don't have to go out to eat some big place. I'll go to like Ronald McDonald's, or I like Wendy's. I won't cost you much money. I'll even pay for it myself. I would like to handshake an apology. I've been laughed at wherever I've gone. You know what? I don't care. I don't answer to you guys. I answer to God. Okay? I'm free. Free spirit. Okay? I don't have to be a yes man to nobody. But I will be an honest man, and this is the honest truth. So today's show's wrapped up, but I encourage you to call Ben and Jerry's on the front and see if they will even pick up the phone. I don't know if Jane Bowman even works there anymore. She tried to help me. They probably got rid of her because she actually wanted to give me some type of settlement. I don't know. Give them a call. Call whoever. If you can get through to them, call the governor's office. Call TJ Donovan. Maybe they'll call you a year from now. I mean, I went up to see TJ Donovan's office. You got to go through the sheriff thing. You can't even meet anyone. So anyways, that's it for today's show. And I think this is going to be the last one for now. And I'm really trying to get them into court one way or another. If I have to represent myself and lose, I just feel that this has to be brought to the attention from a judge. And I actually hope Ben and Jerry's, maybe they will sue me. Maybe they'll take me to court for like cease and desist. So at least I can tell the judge my true story. He can look at the medical professional's documentation and see that I'll take a lie detector test. Ask Ben and Jerry's if they'll take a lie detector test that they investigated this, that it didn't happen to these people. Well, I got written statements, my friend, from these people. It happened to them too. So it's not alleged. It happened, my friends. And I have the names of people that participated. We can contact them. The Attorney General, all you have to do, under the law, I am protected under law because under unusual circumstances, the law was changed. If you had a learning disability, mentally incompetent, there was a clause. So Julio Thompson, civil rights guy working for TJ Donovan, you do have the avenue to prosecute the Ben and Jerry and Liberty Mutual Corporation. So don't tell me you can't, because the law does allow it. You're choosing not to. And as an Attorney General of Vermont, you went after the cigarette companies and everyone else, got a big settlement. If you're serving the American people, the Vermont people, justice is for all, not who you choose to prosecute in the state of Vermont. So I asked you, TJ Donovan, to resign a year ago. I'm still asking you to resign. Bernie Sanders, I also asked you to resign a year ago. And Mr. Zuckerman, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you at this point because you have seen the truth in this issue and you want a resolution because you don't want it to end your political career for having ties to a company that committed crimes of assault on its workers in the state of Vermont. And you don't want to be caught in the political bed, all snuggling, all all snuggling each other and loving each other when the little boat capsizes in Lake Champlain and sinks forever to the bottom. All right, that's it for today's show. Thank you very much, and I appreciate everything.